All Things Motoring is owned and brought to you by CHANGECARS, South Africa's trusted online vehicle platform. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just need advice, visit changecars.co.za.
While we're busy getting ready for a bumper Season 3, we thought we'd look back at Season 2's highlights. Let's get into it.
The last time I was standing here was the end of Season 1. Season 1, as we all know, I was by myself. I always had the vision that this show will become more than just a one-man band. Then I met an incredible gentleman. Young, good-looking, in shape, outgoing, bubbly personality. When I saw him, I decided there and then I wanted him to be on the show. Unfortunately, he wasn't available. So, I took Gugu. Gugu, jokes aside, that man was you.
Oh, thank you, Mac.
It's been incredible working with you this season. What we're here to do today is look at our highlights. In fact, I'm not going to call it highlights because when I look back at the season, every single show we've done has been a highlight. What are we going to do? Call it standouts. What for you has been a standout this year? Give me just the top 125
Top
standouts.
125. Let me see. So the one we went to Mpumalanga, do you remember that?
Absolutely, of course.
And you wanted to do some funny things with the R8?
Correct.
And I was like, no, you can't. Someone had to be the adult there. So unfortunately, that was me.
What Gugu's referring to there, we were parked in a parking lot. I saw a lovely patch of green grass. It had possibly been raining the night before. And I just wanted to see if All Things Quattro is what it's made out to be. And Gugu suggested we don't do it. But jokes aside again, I would not have done that. Should I do something there? I'll spin it there, on the grass. Hey?
Don't say yes, don't say yeah. So keeping with Mpumalanga, obviously that stood out for me. What stood out for you?
What for me, again, we use the word standout, is the driving roads. I've often referred to it as motoring nirvana. You go from Nelspruit to White River to Hazy View to the escarpment, where you go to Graskorp, Sabi. The roads are in excellent condition.
They are.
They are not busy. It's not like the kind of roads that you'd see in Johannesburg, Bloemfontein, Durban, that you have got traffic. It's tourist roads. Top down in the R8, you were on the motorbike.
I was.
We weren't speeding, that was a beautiful thing.
But you still nearly rode me over.
I do apologize about that, and I'll try harder next time.
Well, thanks.
If at first
I'm here because of your grace.
If at first you don't succeed,
Try again.
again. Now, in Mpumalanga, for you, on that trip, what was a standout?
What was that place called where we overlooked the mountains and the valley?
It was in Graskorp, in the town itself. They've got, in my opinion, the very best pool in South Africa. You look out, it looks like a rim flow pool, and you look over the escarpment. Do you remember what I did when we were filming there?
Well, I hope Jason has the footage, our camera guy, so we can show everyone else what you did.
Yeah. Some people are scared of heights. I'm scared of heights. Truly, truly, truly.
You were doing this the whole time.
I was walking away like, yeah. Sometimes on camera, you don't see what goes on behind the scenes. We had the pleasure of going into Kruger Park, having a bush braai. We met our friends there, we met other people. How magnificent was that setting?
No, that was stunning. It was a beautiful setting, and obviously going into the Kruger as always, it's just always an occasion, right?
Of course. What also stands out, a hot day in Gauteng, 28, 29, in Kruger at night, it exceeds 30 degrees sometimes. I mean, we were there around the fire. The fire was for ambiance, it wasn't to keep us warm. So often people talk about the sights and sounds. There, naturally, you see the sights, you hear the sounds, but you can actually smell you in that part of the world. It's just something about the air that I love. What was one more thing that stands out about our trip to Mpumalanga?
I think we actually went to the Costa Bridge Museum, if you remember. Do you remember that?
100%. What a museum. This is a private collection started by two incredible individuals. Again, hats off to Louis and his team. Well done. Where after that?
The next highlight, in my opinion,
was dinner with me in Joburg.
No, I have a lot of those with you.
Okay. So one of the things I'd like to share with the fans is what goes into putting a show like this together. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. I used to watch the A-Team, Dallas. One was an action, one was not a sitcom, but a drama. And you often wonder, you see an hour footage, how long does it take to put that together?
So our show is actually 24 minutes on here, only 24 minutes.
Correct.
But it takes an entire day for us to film a 24-minute
Now,
episode.
when we say an entire day, between 8 and 12 hours. Now, you may think, either these guys are a bit slow, they don't know how to get it right the first, second, or third time, but it's what goes into putting something like this together.
Yeah.
Take our fan day.
Yeah.
That was our first episode. We were at the Vaal River from 7 o'clock. We left there not before 7 o'clock that evening. We had lunch, we had breakfast, but the actual filming with the guests.
You know why it actually takes so long, Mike? I've actually just thought about that. It's because we eat so many times. With Michael, every hour we've got to sit down and eat. Am I wrong?
Every hour, on the hour.
On the hour, we've got to sit down and eat. And I end up looking fat, just by the way. Thanks, my friend.
And I end up looking like this. But
He always does. I don't know how he does it.
when we talk about iconic motor shows, I hope in time that all things motoring will be on people's lips. But look at Top Gear. I don't think there's too many people in the world that follow motoring that don't know Top Gear.
No.
The secret to their success is you've got James, Richard and Jeremy, often in completely different places. We did that this year.
We did.
Infest. I was not able to attend. You were there. It seemed like the most incredible festival. I remember you talking about how hot it was, how many people, just everything was positive. What was for you the highlight at M-Fest?
Well, thank you. I gladly took one for the team for the M-Fest. So for me, there was quite a few things, highlights. One of them being the Drift Brothers. I don't know if you saw that episode, but those guys are insanely good behind the wheel.
That's synchronized. It's insane.
It's mind-blowing. Throttle is at full tilt and these guys are just sliding in tandem. And you needed to have heard the sound of those M4s. Anyone who was there will tell you how incredibly out of this world those cars sounded. So those guys were like a highlight.
It was like the sound of the birds in our background chirping.
Just times 100.
But when you watched it on TV, they talk about being on rails. I mean, those cars were in complete sync no matter what they did.
But that's skill.
Oh, it's unbelievable
That is
skill. And then you met who can only be described as an incredible lady, Kayla. Kayla is so unique. Watch what Kayla did. Tell us about Kayla.
No, Kayla's insane. So Kayla is a female drifter. She's actually very young, in her 20s, and she drifts, but she doesn't just, it's actually spinning, not even
Spinning,
drifting.
correct.
Right? There is a difference. Drifting is one thing, spinning is a completely different thing. And Kayla does something called a suicide slide, where she basically hangs out the window of the car by her legs, and her head is on the floor while that thing is spinning on its own.
And we talk about 5-10 centimeters roughly
the
from
hair
the
is
floor.
on the ground.
The hair's
sweeping.
touching the.
It's sweeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
is-
she was insane. I got goosebumps looking at her doing what she was doing. I nearly went and pulled her off the car.
Stay tuned. After the break, we look back to go-karting and when Michael took one for the team.
So, unlike Gugu who does M-Fest by himself, where I'm not invited, I'm a guy who likes to share. There's one other thing that absolutely stands out for me. It was the most incredible people. There was a lot of people, and we did a lot of activities. What am I talking about?
Probably dirt. I know you love playing in dirt.
Got this one. GZ Adventures. Often people say from A to Z. In this case, it was from G to Z. So now you said dirt, two things. One, if you hadn't said it, guaranteed I would have gone there because for me it was standout. But talking about the dirt, I'm still scrubbing my face 6 months later. I feel like I had that dirt caked on. Why? We did off-road go-karting, we did quad biking, we did axe throwing, we did that other thing called
You nearly
paintball.
killed
Not,
me. Hold
not
on.
even going to go to paintball.
You
Don't
nearly
even,
killed me
don't-
with an axe. Can we talk about that?
We can.
Because you threw it sideways. And I'm still alive.
What was funny when we were doing that particular event, Gugu did the
Archery.
The archery. He got like 8 out of 10 for archery. I got 0 out of 10 and I was lucky to get 0. Then we did axe throwing. and the roles were properly reversed for some incredible reason. Do you remember?
Where did you learn how to do that? Or should I even ask?
Never had thrown it before. It was just like the way I throw a tennis ball, literally.
Okay.
But that was incredible. On that day, what was the highlight for you on that particular day?
It has to have been, wait, paint. You talk about mud. Do you remember paint?
Of course.
Who had paint?
You had paint, I got painted. So his highlight and my highlight are actually very similar. He loved the paintball, and I loved surrendering at paintball.
So what actually happened was we decided to go paintballing, right? As a team, he's not on my team, he's on the other side. And obviously he never knew that I had a bit of skill behind the paintball gun. No clue, right? And
Thanks for sharing the intel beforehand.
it only took about 5 minutes in the game, and he was covered in paint. He raises his gun. He's like, I can't, I'm done. Yeah. I can't.
But let me explain. When Gugu says I was covered in paint, not covered in paint yeah and yeah. I'm talking about covered in paint yeah. Wherever it can hurt. This man somehow had an uncanny ability to hit you where it hurt. I had the foresight to take a thick piece of cardboard and stuff it down my pants before. I really did.
I remember that, yes.
I had a premonition.
I remember that.
I had a premonition.
Smart. You were bleeding though, yeah. Do you remember that?
And yeah.
But before we move on, Mike, we also did karting, right? Off-road karting. Now, I know you're an expert on hard karting, but how was the off-road karting over there?
That is
on dirt.
That is something that you cannot describe unless you've seen it. So fundamentally, and again, it's not a criticism, you get in a go-kart and they look like they're flawed. Why do they look like they're flawed? Very, very short.
Very short.
So you're sitting with these cramped arms, cramped legs. The whole track is bumpy. So on a normal go-kart, you can be refined, your foot's on the brake, your foot's on the accelerator, you've got control. On this, for want of a better description, your feet are doing this.
The whole time.
Literally, you're going around the corner and you're like trying to put the brake.
That was the worst part, right? Do you know what was a highlight for me in the karting and the quad biking, because we did also do quad biking, was going sideways. We were going sideways entirely. With the karts, you don't normally do that.
Correct.
And the quad bikes, you remember that?
Correct. The interesting thing is we keep going back to circuit karting. There it's all about technique. What is the ideal lap time? 1:07. You don't want to be doing 1:08, 1:09. Yeah. Here you don't give a damn about the lap times. It's not at all about the lap times. It's about having fun.
It's about having fun.
If you get it sideways on a circuit, you're being slow.
Yeah.
And the carts are jerking, and you just feel like you feel like you stuffed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Intentionally, you're trying to get it sideways. On the go-kart, Gugu was an animal. On the quad bike, he's standing up, going around the corners, sliding. One of the things that we've become famous for, and everybody I speak to likes about the show, is the funnies at the end. It is important that we mention every single funny that you see is genuine, it's unscripted, it's things that happen on set. Now, when we were at GZ Adventures, we had to take our ending credits, without exaggerating, 6 or 7 times. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 times. He's a little bit slow, I'm very good, natural, get it first time. But in this particular instance, we needed to do it 6 or 7 times. Every time I started speaking, Gugu was having a hysterical fit of laughter.
I remember that.
Please share with our viewers, because often they just see the laughing, they see the funny, but they don't know what's gone into the reason for it.
So what actually happened there, and I remember what you're talking about, we were doing our closing link, and because I'd shot him so many times and he was swollen and bruised and just a mess.
Like properly beaten up, he's trying to say.
Every time I'd look at him, I just remember the shooting and him surrendering and saying, I don't want to play, and that just really cracked me up.
Okay. It is at this juncture again that I'd like What are you laughing at?
That's what was happening in that moment. I just look at you and see the bumps in your head, and it would just crack me up.
Okay, very, very, very
I'm sorry,
funny.
I do love you still.
Very, very funny. So as Gugu's saying that, I'm focused, I've got ideas for season 3. When I look at him, wait until I start laughing.
Oh, have you got plans up your sleeve? Or little tricks up there? Well, I'm glad your sleeves are short.
But now, you take a day like today, we said it takes a while. We started 2.5 hours ago, the sun wasn't behind us. Right now, these are necessary. We're talking about sun. Episode 1, we called it Fun in the Sun.
Yes.
We were at the incredible Vaal River. We had guests there. which guest for you, and listen, let's be very clear, every one of them that attended, you guys were amazing. But there's one gentleman for me that stood out because of an incident, a positive incident that happened. What was that?
So I actually remember that. You were busy taking people around on the boat, and people were not traumatized, but it was a different experience. People were screaming, hair in the air. And then
Having fun.
Having fun, yes, but screaming, but having fun. Then there was this one gentleman, I think his name was Brian, am I correct?
Brian, correct?
He somehow falls off the tube, as everyone does. I fell off at some point.
Course.
And I mean, he's got a life jacket. I'm thinking he's fine. He says to me, I'm black, I can't swim. I'm like,
It's good.
Meanwhile, he's actually drowning.
He wasn't fortunately actually drowning, but he thought he was drowning.
He thought he was drowning.
A big shout out to you.
Season 3, or end of season 3, Brian, you'll be back, take you for some swimming lessons, and you'll be fine, man.
Awesome. Then, the Swartkorps race circuit. So many things stand out. You mentioned accessibility. The circuit is immaculately maintained. The people who run the circuit are friendly, accommodating, but it's what's at the circuit. So when I think of certain racing circuits in the country, you think of them as exactly that, a racing circuit.
Yeah.
Swartkorps, they have cars in the park. They have classic days. They have Ferrari days. You can get onto the circuits. There's 2 circuits. There's a karting circuit, and I want to talk to you about the karting circuit. Some of our best fun that we had this year was at the karting circuit. Tell us about Jeff and that incredible facility.
So Jeff is basically the guy who runs and manages the facility, the karting side of it. And you played me. Do you remember that?
I told you I've never been on a
He
go-kart
pretends
before.
like he's never been on a go-kart before, makes me feel all good inside.
But sorry to interrupt. Remember, at my age, the memory does start going. But when you get in the cart, it all comes back.
And then you disappeared.
Absolutely. How do I look from the back? Have I got a nice hairline there from the back?
I tried not to look. The other highlights and standout with Swartkorps Raceway was chatting to Into Africa Racing. I don't know if you saw that episode. You weren't there,
of course.
But I'm pretty sure you watched that. I had a nice chat with Tolile, who is actually the guy behind Into Africa Racing.
I'm very impressed that you pronounced that perfectly. That was like the proper Xhosa pronunciation.
You go?
Glolile.
Close enough. Tolile. And so he heads up Into Africa Racing. He doesn't only head it up, he actually races for the team.
Wow.
So I'm really excited to see what that team is going to do in 2023. And I mean, they're racing in different series, right?
For sure.
So you guys keep rocking and doing what you're doing.
Stay tuned. After the break, we remember our 4x4 trip with our good friend Terence.
One of the biggest challenges, and we knew it when we started, that there was going to be too much to talk about. But there's 2 more things that I just need to throw in. Lion Park. Tell us about the experience at the Lion Park. The incredible facility that is the Lion Park. And there's so much more to Lion Park.
Yeah.
There's the off-road track. There's quad biking. There's the actual animals. What was your feeling of the Lion Park?
You can also braai over there. Did we not braai at the end of that day?
100%. So to the Lion Park, Terence, you have the most amazing track. You're a personal friend of myself and the team at All Things Motoring. To Marius, who runs the Lion Park, thank you for the warm welcome you gave us. Little things stand out for me on set.
Yeah.
We arrive there to film, we have lunch, I'm about to go pay for the team. Marius literally wanted to dive tackle me to take a credit card out of my hand, wouldn't allow us to pay. It's little things like that, absolutely. Then, Middelburg. We're back to Mpumalanga again.
Oh yes, we went to Middelburg, didn't we? Brup in.
Rup in. How do you explain the incredible private museum that is run by Victor and Eugene? What was it about that place that was standout? For me, there was so much.
It was stunning. And the interesting part about it is that these guys don't only have a car museum, it's a museum for everything. Cars, bikes, bicycles, caps. They just collect everything, right?
Little model cars.
Little model cars.
I think they had there something like 2,500 model cars. But again, as much as the facility is impressive, as much as what is there is impressive, it's who runs it. So while we were at Bruff, there was two things that stood out. You know I've wanted to start riding motorcycles, but I'm genuinely am scared, and unfortunately I'm not going to be riding motorcycles. Longevity is very important, but Gugu decides he's going to take me for a training course. So I literally think we're going to go sit on a motorcycle, he's going to go through all the A's and B's of it. It's a little scooter that's made into a toilet. Victor and Eugene nicknamed it Kakasaki very aptly. How funny was that?
That was funny. Kakasaki.
What else was super funny that they've done there?
Did you enjoy the ride?
I enjoyed the ride. It was by the seat of my pants, so to speak. Then often the funnies. Funnies for us is what makes this show. So they've got a mannequin there. I don't think the mannequin's got a name.
No.
It's just a racing driver. We made a joke talking to it, and you still said he ain't happy.
No.
One day what the team at Bruff did was they put the mannequin in a certain position, and a regular, somebody they know, walked past, and the mannequin slapped the bottom. How funny was that, as you will now see on screen?
That was funny, Mike, but you know what wasn't funny? Do you know what wasn't funny?
Something I did to you, clearly?
You left me in the boot. Do you remember that?
Oh, my word. Guys, so what happened was we're at the facility. Gugu's in the boot reading the owner's manual of a Peugeot 404. I'm busy talking to Victor, and then we walk away. And about, I mean, it wasn't that long, maybe 3 hours later.
For you, it wasn't that long.
Maybe
for me,
3,
it
4
was.
hours later, we just thought Gugu had timed out for the day. You know, he hasn't got the work ethic that I've got. But that was funny. Guys, I'm still here, guys.
Well, thanks for coming back.
So, Gugu,
Eventually.
looking back, is it fair to say, and this has got to be our ethos, Season 1 was magnificent. Season 2 was truly magnificent. Season 3, it's not going to be long before we're doing highlights for Season 3,
Not at
4,
all.
5, and 6. And the whole ethos of the show is to continue improving. Guaranteed there's going to be 3 of us wrapping up the show at the end of Season 3, and maybe 4, 5, and beyond. We're looking to introduce more guests, different presenters, ad hoc presenters.
I think it's an absolutely great idea. We keep growing. It's called growth, right? And also from me, guys, I'd really love to thank you and show you my gratitude as a viewer. We really value you as a viewer. You, my friend, I value as well. Thank you for putting all of this together. As always, we're going to keep rocking and rolling.
Here's to Season 3, 4, and beyond.
And beyond.
Stay tuned to Ignition and keep an eye out for the launch of Season 3.
It's your shampoo. The shampoo that you use, probably mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise. That's funny. You know what I'm going to do? It'll take 10 seconds. Watch this.
This is generally why it takes so long to film an episode. I promise you this is going to be 10-15 minutes. I'll wait here. Watch.
All Things Motoring is owned and brought to you by CHANGECARS, South Africa's trusted online vehicle platform. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just need advice, visit changecars.co.za.